On today's episode of Locked On 76ers, Tyrese Maxey is going to be out a little bit longer than we expected. We'll talk about it next and how it impacts the Sixers continually going forward right here on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. What's up, D?
What's happening, man? What's going on? Friday.
Yeah. I always say hump day because I always work like 7 days a week.
Yeah, you don't have a hump day. You just have a new week that starts. That's what you have. That's all. Yeah, that's what you have. And listen, everybody, thank you for making Locked On 76ers. Welcome. I'm Devon from 97.5 The Fanatic Radio in Philadelphia, alongside my co-host and partner, as always, from theinquirer.com, Keith Pompey, with you. We thank you again for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On 76ers is free and available on YouTube right here on Locked On 76ers. Keith, it continues to look like Tyrese Maxey is going to be out, and we have the Golden State Warriors tonight here in Philadelphia for Game 4 of the homestand. We'll tap into a little bit more of how they move forward without Tyrese Maxey, and also get into Steph Curry and his injury, which he is going to be out and missing, as it was said, a few weeks, and also give our keys to the game for this one tonight as the Sixers go for their fourth win in a row. Now, I mean, look, we're already at this place where the Sixers are winning these games, and they've been out without Tyrese Maxey for some time now. And we'll see about Anthony Melton and Daniel House, able to participate a little bit in practice on Thursday. But those guys coming back is important. But where they are right now, three wins at home during this homestand, having an opportunity to pick up these wins. They have another game here tonight against Golden State without him. How do they continue to play this way, Keith, with him not in the lineup?
I think that this might sound crazy to you, but with him not in the lineup, I think there's not really a problem. I think but the longer you go without him being in the lineup, it's going to be harder to blend them back in. And the reason why I'm saying that is because once he comes in, stuff is going to have to change. You're going to have people are going to have Anthony Melton's going to have a different role. He is kind of like right now, Joel and James have only played 8 games together, right? They played 6 games, or they played 9. They played 6 games with Maxey in the group. And the longer that it goes, is basically the longer it's going to get you guys prepared for what you think you really have. You know what I mean? It's like having a practice, and there's a great practice, great scrimmage, but you don't have your full roster there. So it's hard to assimilate what you're going to have. Now, the one concern that I do have, D, about all this is, they were saying 3 to 4 weeks. You find out yesterday that this guy can't do much of anything. Now, Doc Rivers is saying, hey, it could be next week, couple weeks, but he's really doubtful about that. To me, is how long is this foot injury, going to linger? Because they say foot injuries could bother you for a long time. So to me, that's the big concern. How long is this thing going to go on?
For me, because it is a foot injury, as you just talked about, and how it can linger and be a problem, don't rush him back. Let him take his time and be smart about it, and don't force him back on the floor any sooner than he needs to be, especially as we're sitting here talking about it. They're winning games. So if they're able to do that and be able to hold things down, Tobias Harris basically being your third scorer, and you get stuff from everyone else, to your point, I think they will be fine. As far as when he does come back and trying to get him and mix back in with the group, I don't think it will take that much work, just because DeAnthony Melton is already that type of guy anyway. He's that Swiss Army where he knows he's either going to be starting or he's going to get those minutes coming off the bench. And he knows how to adjust, and he knows how to adjust to the role that is asked of him from his coach and from his teammates. It'll probably be more about the starters making sure that they get Maxey mixed in, him picking and choosing his spots, because we would talk about that so many times where he wouldn't necessarily be as aggressive as we like, where he would defer to his veteran teammates instead of going out and being himself. That may be a little bit of a concern, but I think that's what his mindset is in general. We talked about it when they were playing well, and we said Joel Embiid had to come back and blend in and not disrupt what they had going on. That was positive. Tyrese Maxey doesn't think like that. He doesn't play like that. I think that he will make sure that he's going to do what's best for the team and fitting back into his starting role with that group and making sure it works. So not too concerned as of yet. As you mentioned, they're doing the right thing by not putting any timeline on them. You mentioned the 3-4 weeks.
They already had a timeline.
Well,
they blew
weeks,
the timeline.
Now they extended it now. So it's just like, take your time.
They ain't extended. They didn't extend it. It was extended.
Well,
you know what I mean?
His foot extended it.
Yeah.
And they're not rushing him back on the floor. So that's the smart approach. You don't rush him.
Real quick, I got a real quick question for you, though. I got a real quick question for you before we go into the break and all that. So in regards to the timing, like, Melton is cool, but Melton's a third guard, right? You can say that the other Milton is a third guard too, right? For those two. But you're not a little bit concerned that they don't have the timing together for these three? They only had 6 games together thus far. And the longer it takes, it's kind of hard, man.
You're talking about the starting lineup.
Yeah, the starting lineup. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I guess the only one I would say that is really just because TJ Tucker is the only one that is in the starting lineup that wasn't there a season ago. So these guys have played in playoff games together. They played last year. Yeah, only 6 this year, collectively all 5. But what he does is set screens, get to the corner, do those things on the offensive end. So to answer your question, not really, no. Just because the other 4 have played together for so long. And what Tucker does easily blends in with what they do.
Okay.
Yep. So that's where I am. And we do have to talk about now the game number 4 against the Golden State Warriors coming up. Stephen Curry is going to be out for a few weeks because of his shoulder injury suffered against the Indiana Pacers on Wednesday night. Already without Andrew Wiggins, this game just became even more winnable for the Sixers and what they need to do. We'll get into that next. Steph Curry's impact on the game or not, because he's not there. And later on, the keys to the game here on Locked On 76ers. I do need to tell you about holidays. The holidays are coming up. You're hanging out with some friends and putting back a few drinks. Becomes a few too many at some point as the evening comes to an end and people start to head out. You think of calling for a ride? Nah, you live nearby. You can make it home. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Well, what are the odds you get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, your job, your car. How about you might even kill someone? That's a lot, but guess what? When it goes that way, when you're drinking, sometimes those things happen. We've heard about it far too many. Everyone knows about the risks of drunk driving. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again, play it safe, and plan ahead, get a ride. It's only one mistake that takes to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Right now, I want to talk to you guys. My man talked about drive sober, get pulled over, which is true. But also, when you're not worrying about that, like a guy like me, you don't have to worry about things like that. Just let's talk about Prize Pick, right? Prize Pick is something like, hey, you get to pick 1 or 6. And the thing about Prize Pick is the thing that I like, and I keep doing this thing. Luka Doncic. Is Luka Doncic going to score more than make more than 35 threes or 25.6 points, not 35 threes. LeBron James, is he going to have more than 7.5 rebounds? Kevin Durant, less than 6.5 assists. I can go with that. Now, here you go. So Prize Picks, what you do is you pick anything, anywhere from 2 to 6 players, and if they will score more or less than their Prize Pick possessions. You can win up to 25 times your money on an entry. No competing against other people. It's just you and the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you can watch. This includes NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, and on and on and on and on. What you do is you download the Prize Pick app or goes to prizepick.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code locked on. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit 50, Prize Picks will give you 50. Don't forget to enter the promo code locked on at sign up and the instant deposit match up to $100. Do it today, people. Definitely do it today.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. All right, Keith, it looks like a labrum injury for Stephen Curry is going to have him out for a few weeks. So the highly anticipated nationally televised game for tonight, Golden State Warriors and 76ers matchup, lost a little bit of luster with his absence. Andrew Wiggins also out, missing the last 5 games for the Golden State Warriors. So what we're going to get is Draymond Green, maybe Klay Thompson, Dante DiVincenzo coming back home. Not a lot to this Golden State Warriors team. Very well coached, we know, and the winning pedigree, but we all know that it starts and ends. Starts with Stephen Curry and losing his 30 points in the starting lineup for them. They lost their first 2 games on this 6-game road trip. A big blow for the Golden State Warriors, Keith.
Yeah, it's a huge blow for him. But, it's kind of like even when Steph was there, for whatever reason, the Warriors just been struggling on the road. I mean, they're 2-13 on the road, which is tied for the worst record for a defending NBA champion with the 2002-03.
Is that right?
Yeah, Los Angeles Lakers 2-13 through 15 games. That's an all-time record. Yeah, so they've been struggling, man, even with him. And no offense to Dante DiVincenzo, a great dude, but when you saying like he coming home and he might factor, like he's a role player. But here's the thing about the 76ers. With all that stuff that we're saying, you got to hit them hard because they still have Klay. They still have Klay who can give you 50. So it's one of those things where in the past, we saw how this Sixers team is. This is a game that they should win handily. But we saw how they were when it was opportunities like this and some guys took their foot off the gas. I think they can win, but they have to go at it as if Wiggins is playing, as if Steph is playing, as if Andre Iguodala is coming off the bench, and they just have to go hard against this team. So, you know what? Again, I get it. They're not playing this and that. It loses a lot of its TV luster, but the Sixers still got it. Joel still has to go off, and the Sixers got to come out hard.
They're still going to have Jordan Poole. Klay Thompson is going to be there. And they know how to run their offense. They know how to run their system, even if they're missing a big piece in Stephen Curry. So, yes, more than a winnable game, but you have to respect the opponent and go out there and put it on them and don't let up. Put your foot on the gas, keep it going through the 48 minutes of play and not let it off until Steve Kerr decides to take his starters out somewhere in the fourth quarter because the game is already out of hand. So you keep it going. You keep it rolling. And yeah, you put your foot on the gas. That 2-13 thing, man, that's real. And they got off to a pretty good start this season also. And then they just started to go on a bit of a slide, and they have not, especially on the road, been able to get back to it. So they're 14-15 right now, Keith, and not a good space where the Golden State Warriors are right now. But as far as the Sixers go for this, yeah, keep winning, keep piling up those wins. Because right now you are right there at the 5th spot in the East. You're right there with the Brooklyn Nets, who continue to win. You also have the New York Knicks right behind you, who continue to win. Make sure you keep pace while you're at home. You're going to see New York in a couple of days, in about a week. Now that game has a little bit more to it on Christmas Day because of how well they're playing currently. Things could slip up a little bit by the time we get to that Sunday game. However, right now they look pretty good, and you want to make sure you handle your business that's in front of you, and that will be the Golden State Warriors. All right, man. On the other side, we got to talk about our keys to the game and how they do, in fact, get this one done against the Golden State Warriors. We both agree that keeping your foot on the gas is key number one. But what are some other things that stand out for us in this one tonight? We'll dive into it next, right here, Locked On 76ers.
Let's talk about Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From pro football to college football season to basketball and World Cup, we've got it all on betonline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Welcome back. The 15-12 Sixers host the 14-15 Golden State Warriors tonight in South Philadelphia at the Center. And Sixers looking to win their fourth game in a row, all four at home along the 7-game homestand. As we said in the previous segment, we both believe that with Stephen Curry out, same for Andrew Wiggins, you just have to keep the pedal to the metal in this one tonight. So other than that, Keith, what are you looking at for this basketball team? Keys to the game of beating the Golden State Warriors this evening?
You know, I kind of think that the Sixers got to do exactly what they've been doing the last couple games. You know, and what I mean by that is, you know, like they've been scoring a lot of points. They've been playing with a lot of pace, and they've been hitting a lot of 3-pointers. I mean, you look at this Golden State team, and they just been struggling a little bit on the road, giving up especially a lot of threes. So I feel like that's something that the Sixers are going to be able to take advantage of. You know, right now, I'm looking at this because the Sixers are number one in pace. Number one in scoring at 129 points a game. The last 3 games, 3-point percentage, 46.1%. Second in assists, 31.7. And their net rating is number 2 in the league too at 15.7, and fourth in steals with an average of 10 a game. So when you look at that, you say to yourself, who has been the big focal point to that, right? James Harden and Joel Embiid. I think Joel has to take advantage of the undersized Golden State Warriors, right? Where he's averaged 40 points the last 3 games and 10.3 rebounds. And you look at James Harden, a guy who's been averaging a double-double the last 3 games, you know, at 22.7 points and 14.3 assists. So those 2 guys, I think, have to spearhead the charge, and I think that they'll be okay if they do that.
I can't disagree with anything there. Whatever's working, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Don't change much. Of course, you have to adapt to the opponent, but Golden State also likes to run, fast-paced type of team. If they can get an opportunity to get the ball off the rim, they're going to push and transition. If they create turnovers, the same thing. Oftentimes, even on made shots, the ball comes out of the net. They want to grab the ball fast and inbound it and go. So the defense has to get back, set their defense against whatever Golden State is pushing down there, and make sure that they protect the paint. Jordan Poole does like to attack the basket. Same thing for Dante DiVincenzo. So you have to make sure you close off those driving lanes, close out on the 3-point line also, because all of them can shoot, from Clay to DiVincenzo, and certainly Jordan Poole. We know that they can get things going with that offense. And Draymond Green is going to try to set screens and assist here, assist there. Kevon Looney just play smart basketball. They're going to try to do things to make sure that they can stay in the game. I don't think they're going to change much of their pace just because that's what they do. But it wouldn't surprise me at times if they also tried to keep it slowed down a little bit, because they cannot keep up in a track meet with the 76ers at full strength a little bit without Tyrese Maxey at this time, putting up their 120 points that you've talked about over the last couple of games. So make sure they rebound. Watch the offensive boards. Same things we always talked about: turnovers, execution, and as hot as they have been from behind the three-point line, just continue to knock down your outside shots, and I think everything will take care of itself in this game against the Golden State Warriors. And we'll be talking about a 4-game winning streak after tonight's game against this basketball team. So a winnable one again, Keith. I think they will take care of their business. They seem to be locked in. They seem to be focused. That one game against the Lakers really, once they allowed them back into it, opened them up, and they beat down Charlotte like they were supposed to, took care of business against a much better Sacramento team. And this Golden State team, they can, they're ripe right now where you can go in and take that win from them and make sure that they walk away with another W and improve to 16-12. So those are my thoughts on the game tonight, and we'll see if they continue with the things that we both believe that they should. We want to thank everybody for making Locked On 76ers your first listen, not only today, but all week. We really appreciate it. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. It's going to be a busy day for us both, man, but do you mind letting the good people know where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us wherever D said you can get your podcast. You can get your podcast. I mean, you can get this podcast also on the YouTube channel. When you go to the YouTube channel, do it from when you get on the Liberty Bell, click on that bad boy and you become a subscriber. You can get the D on the Divine Giving Show from 6 p.m. to midnight tonight.
Around the game, yep.
Yep, around the game. And also you can follow me on Twitter at DivineG975. You can follow me on Twitter at Pompey on Sixers. And you can read my recap of the game as soon as the game is over on Enquirer.com. And you can read my takeaways Saturday morning on Enquirer.com.
Make sure you check him out Saturday morning, see what he has to say about the takeaways from the game and the week, as Joel Embiid secured another player of the week, Keith, and for the six. He had the 53 on Sunday against Charlotte. He's been playing. Well, we'll see what he does as far as the East goes this week, because if they win again tonight, they'll be undefeated, and that will also count for this week, a possible player of the week recognition once again for Joel Embiid. We'll see what happens there. Keith, thanks again, man. Always fun hanging out with you. Good week with you and everybody out there. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, man. I'll talk to you, of course, involved in the game, but have a great weekend. Everybody have a great weekend as well. Be safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Peace. See you, my man.
All right.